again.
Power to the people.
Keegan Kogan talking about power to the people today. Of course, we talked about the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire. You probably sat back and went, hey, how did all of this, why did nobody do anything? Why was this allowed to exist? How could you let this happen?
And I really think that our video on the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, I mean, if there was ever a time that we have to do that in school.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
absolutely. You walk around and you see the little safety features that you have in a particular building. For us, it's our workplace. You know, of course, you come here and you do work, but you're not being compensated for it. But the thing is that it's our workplace. Of course, everybody has to be made safe, and these certain safety conditions exist to keep workers safe and people safe. But, you know, again, when you're looking at workers' rights, you know, certain things need to take place in particular industries to make sure that workers are safe. And that's just, you know, this is just basics. You're looking at a public school, but once you get into construction, people working with hazardous materials, a lot of things that you saw just in 1911 fire of Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, a lot of things went wrong that shouldn't have gone wrong, and it's because there wasn't a lot of safety precautions put in place.
Because no one put laws on the books yet.
Right. You know? So if that's what one industry looked like, you know, imagine what the other industries look like the coal mining industry.
Why don't we take a look?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
right.
We're talking about the coal mining industry. You know, I mean, that doesn't look like Dad going to work.
It does not.
That looks like little Tommy, my next door neighbor, going
Absolutely.
to work in the coal mines.
It's like one of those things. Since we're talking about a fire, hey, where there's smoke, there's fire here.
Right.
Okay, so if you just saw a tip of the iceberg in terms of what working conditions were like in 1911, because you also had kids working.
And any of our students, you know, who had the great Pete Coletti,
right,
in 6th grade, he
yeah.
teaches them a word, pneumano, ultrascopic, micro.
Yes, referring to the.
We were referring to the disease that coal miners
yep.
wind up coming across. All right, so quick review of basically what working conditions were like in factories, in coal mines, in wherever during the Industrial Revolution, right around the turn of the century. You know, and it really wasn't fun.
No.
You know, you're working 10-hour days at minimum.
Of course.
Some as high as 16 hours a day.
Yep.
You're not getting paid a lot of money.
Nope.
The working conditions you are in are horrendous. Think back to the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire. They're dirty. They're disgusting. Windows were usually closed. If you're in a coal mine, you know, forget it. You know, basically referred to what we call today sweatshops.
Right.
Dangerous conditions. The boring, repetitive work, which leads to more accidents taking place, and of course, our child labor.
And we're talking about the long pay and the long hours, the low pay. Or you're probably doing this 6 or 7 days off, 6 or 7 days in a row. You may have been given off on Sunday
To go to church.
To go to church, pretty much.
Yeah.
Boring, child labor. That's another big thing. So the thing is that, well, that's another thing. It's like where there's smoke, there's fire. All right. Well, if children are allowed to go to work, are there education laws in place?
No.
No. That's why any of them.
You know, and it was like really it starts in like almost colonial times, really.
Yeah.
You know, or early 1800s, where mom was like, I've got to go to work to get money for our family, but I got a kid to raise.
Right.
The kid came to work with like the Lowell girls up in Massachusetts,
Absolutely.
and then the owner's like, well, the kid can do something while he's here.
Yeah, exactly.
Grab a broom, or you know, they could fit into the machines to fix broken parts. I mean,
it's just twisted.
Here's like your typical sweatshop, you
Oh
know,
my gosh.
similar to Triangle Shirtwaist, overcrowded.
Oh.
You've got these loud machines with all these gears turning and belts belting and.
Now, when you talk about, like, he's bringing up loud circumstances, I mean, today, if you're in a working environment where the noise is too much, usually around 82 decibels or whatnot, you're supposed to get hearing protection. If it's even higher, you get double, like the little things that go in your ears or the headphones. There's no way that's taking place there.
No, and
no way.
If Linda here wants to talk to Betsy here, they're yelling at each other.
Right, of course.
Just trying to have a simple conversation.
And whatever they're doing in here, whatever they're doing in here, if anything is flying around that could possibly get in your eye, there is no eye protection.
This is a textile
whatsoever.
factory. They're making thread.
Oh yeah.
In this particular instance, you know, child labor, the exploitation of children going on in the late 1800s, early 1900s. You know, the big fat. I always, you know, we're going to see a lot of big fat people in political cartoons.
Oh, absolutely.
And big fat people in political cartoons could mean one of two things: rich and powerful,
Yep.
or really, really greedy.
Yep.
You know, it's one or the other, and most times it's
the
both.
same
It's
thing.
both
Yeah,
at the same
one
time.
and the same.
You know, so here we see this guy eating the child, children going to work. Little girl at work. I mean, she's barefoot.
Right.
You know, in this textile mill.
6 years old.
Yeah, 6 years old. I've got a 6-year-old at home who is like, Dad, I want my iPad.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
It's
no,
six.
little Sally, go make yarn. More.
The Bobbin boys, they would go
Yep.
and change, and their size was used to an advantage. Whether it be the coal mile or textile mills, they were able to move around and navigate through much more easily. Equal pay? Not,
Nope.
not at all. Men and women were not making the same amount of money during this particular time period. Children were not making the same amount of money either as well. So
And
it's
children especially, if this machine broke, he could easily crawl in there,
Right.
find the broken part, crawl out, give it to the mechanic.
my
The mechanic's
God.
like, all right, go put this back
Go
on.
put this back in.
Hopefully for him, someone
Yeah.
remembered to turn the machine off.
Right.
Or he gets a finger caught, some hair caught,
And it-
or worse.
turning the machine off, lockout,
Yeah.
tag out.
Yes.
If a machine is off, a guy can't go near a particular switch because then it's unlikely that it can turn on. You don't have any of those rules.
I always focus on this one, like,
There's
what is she looking out the window thinking?
Yeah, like a penny for your thoughts.
Are
like,
there kids outside playing? Is it snowing
a
outside?
schoolyard nearby?
Yeah.
I like where this can
But
go.
she's at a textile mill getting work done. Look carefully what's missing. Doesn't have a pigtail on this side.
Oh my
Did it
gosh.
get ripped out? She is missing a finger
Oh.
on her right hand. Did it get caught in a gear? These were your coal miners. Who would go down into the coal mine with a candle on their head so they could see.
And you're breathing in all that stuff.
Yeah.
And at that particular time period, they didn't know it. And these are the breaker boys right here.
Yep.
Finding the good coal.
Selling cockle shells.
Oh my gosh.
Just, kids because we haven't gotten up to immigration yet.
But yeah, there's a
but
reason why
that-
these kids are doing
The
this.
pull factor to America was prosperity.
Right.
The push was poverty in Europe. So they came here, willing to work hard. They
Right.
were, the families were willing to do this. Kids were like, he'd rather be playing stickball down
Yeah,
the street.
for some of them, this was
This-
a better way.
Yeah, this meant putting food on their table. Women working outside the homes, in gender-specific jobs that
Yes.
women would be doing at the time, not really until World War II that we're going to see them. So the point of all of this,
Yes.
that's pushing us towards organized labor known as unions.
So before we get into this, so certain things that worker might complain about at this particular time period is low pay, working long hours, working, 6-7 days a week without a day off.
I'm going to need you to go ahead and come in on Saturday.
Saturday, yeah, exactly. And you had no choice.
Oh, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
40-hour work weeks, they're probably doing 60 to 70. There's no overtime. The working conditions are not safe. So if you are going to get any of that stuff changed, any at all, you need to come together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like the United States of America.
Yes.
There we go.
Strength in numbers. There's always going to be strength in numbers. So if I've got a problem with my classroom and what's happening here, or it's dangerous, or it's not, it's none of these things. But if I had a problem, I've got 120 other employees who I can work together with.
Who might have a similar problem.
Yes,
as
who
well.
might have that
Yeah.
similar problem, and we can voice our opinions together. You see this all the time. With the Verizon workers went on strike
Absolutely.
not that long ago,
Yep.
fighting for, I think they were fighting for medical benefits.
I think so.
There's many different reasons why labor unions will do what they do. And the one major power that workers have against their employer
It's unity. Yeah.
is the work.
Yep.
Oh, you don't want to pay us more money?
What can we do?
We're not going to work.
Right. You could strike.
We're not, good luck. We're not coming into the coal mine today, or we're not going to the garment factory or any of these things.
And none of these business owners want to hear that.
Yeah.
Because now, no profit.
It's called a strike.
Yeah.
When the workers come together, they decide we are not working, we're going on strike.
Now, you're going to hurt the owner in the pocket, because he's not going to be making money. But then again, neither are you.
Mm-hmm.
So when workers decide to go on strike, there's usually a really good reason for it, and usually a lot of other things have already taken place that have not worked,
Yep.
Such as negotiating. Usually, what winds up happening when we're looking at what workers want, usually a lot of the common things. Usually, salary is usually always at the top. Usually, there won't be agreements on certain issues, but when workers decide not to strike, they're trying to make a point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the owner's trying to make a point by not caving in or giving in to their demands.
Yeah, it could be for higher wages, could be
Yep.
for less hours, more vacation time,
Better health
better
insurance,
benefits.
yep.
Yeah,
Safer working
there's so many
conditions.
different.
That's where we're at in 2020. You know, now during this time period, you're talking about 5-day work weeks.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about safer working conditions.
You know, so what are they? What are their goals? How do they work? You know, when we look at what's been happening to labor unions over the years, you know, it's participation in labor unions has been going down.
Wow.
In this country.
I've not seen
You know,
that statistic. Excuse
You
me.
know, and it's interesting. You know, you look at your average unionized worker, they're making on average more money than your non-unionized worker.
That's the other thing too.
You know, so it's like, well, if you're an employer, do you want your employees forming a labor union?
Right.
No, because you're probably going to have to pay them more money.
Right, exactly.
You know, so unionized jobs. Walmart will not let their employees
No,
unionize.
gosh, no.
You know, if you try to form a union in Walmart, they will fire you on
Absolutely.
spot. You know, that's why, you know, there's an old adage, I don't know if I have it here, I don't. It's like, you know, Walmart employees can only afford to shop at Walmart.
Oh gosh.
You know, and it's true.
Yeah.
They pay them bare minimum.
Right.
Most of them are only part-time workers, which
Right.
then mean they can't get
Health insurance
insurance
and
and
benefits.
benefits.
Yep.
So instead of hiring one person for a full-time job, they're going to hire both of us. You work the first 5 hours a day. I'll work the second 5 hours a day. They pay us bare minimum.
Right.
And then
Because the law is that when you're working a full-time job, you're at 40 hours, and what are you entitled to at 40 hours? A lot of these benefits and everything. If you're not working those particular 40 hours, then
Yeah,
you know the
it's-
employer is not obligated to grant you other things. You know, are certain laws that have been put into place that certain businesses, because of more profits and more money that they want, that's how they get around it.
Yeah.
Loophole.
So what they've been fighting for. You know, what
Okay.
unions have always been fighting for since they were formed. You know, one of the first original labor unions were the Knights of Labor.
Yep.
You know, and they along with, I think I heard the American Federation of Labor. These two were the major unions in America that governed really many different industries at the
Absolutely.
time. And they are going to get that ball rolling. I think I have on collective bargaining. That ability of union employees to form together and have one voice.
Right.
So I would elect Mr. He to be our union president. He sits down with the business owner and says, hey, this is what we want. We want this, 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 and this.
Right.
And that ability to collectively bargain, to negotiate with management on the wants and needs of the union.
And it becomes more organized when you're looking at a union, because if I'm going back to these guys right here, okay, let's say for example they're a construction company or whatever the case may be, and you're talking about a couple of hundred workers. They can't all go to ownership as a collective unit, all a couple of hundred. They can't all go and go, hey, this is what we want. So what they do is they simplify it, and they do it in a democratic way. They elect somebody to represent them on their behalf, somebody who's probably has negotiating skills or is diplomatic, and they go, hey, we want better pay, and then somebody's going to go on their behalf to negotiate for them.
I have a really good slide somewhere here.
There
Right
we go.
here.
There we
You
go.
know, that these are things over the last 140 years
Yep.
that unions have fought for and won in this country. Are you off on the weekend?
Yep.
Thank a union. You get paid vacation, paid sick leave, having Social Security, an 8-hour workday, getting paid for overtime, health care, dental care, vision care. Do you get a break on your job?
Right.
Thank a union. Do you get a raise? Thank a union. Do you get to get paid military leave, Mr. He?
Yes.
You know, all of these come from labor unions.
Yep.
And I mean, power, one group having one voice. You know, and I always have to go back. I was a 7th grade teacher for so long. I have this tattooed on my leg.
Yep.
But there are strength in numbers.
Yeah,
if
there
you
is.
work together, you're going to be stronger than if you work separately. Goes all the way back to the ancient Iroquois in Hiawatha. You know, when a single arrow is easily broken, but a bundle of arrows can never break.
Oh, it's a good one.
You know, it's the same thing. Join or die, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Work together. Work
And then
together.
certain things that unions actually get, since you're going back here, certain things that unions get, whatever the industry might be, it might set the standard for other industries.
Mhm.
Well, hey, you know, the police have this, we would also like this as well, depending on what the industry is.
Yeah.
There's certain unions or industries that kind of set that particular standard. Oh yeah, I can go on.
And the
and
most
on.
powerful union in
Oh, of
America,
course.
the MLBPA.
And that's the other thing too. You look at professional sports; they all have labor unions. And Major League Baseball, their office is in New York City.
Yes, it
Manhattan.
is. Yes, it is.
All right.
Power to the people, strength in numbers. Just remember that.
Thank you for watching.